Good morning, all, and very, very welcome to this morning session, our expert talks on the topic Big Data for Evidence. I'm greeting you this morning, both you in the room here at MBG6 and you out there in the virtual world. My name is Karin Ståhl, having the honor of being the Managing Director for Drees and Sommer in Sweden, and Drees and Sommer greets you all welcome. Drees and Sommer, our purpose is to unite opposites, to create a world we want to live in. And I think that's also something we will touch on today as we talk about big data and connectivity and the benefits and added value with that. Drees and Sommer being a rather new brand for Sweden, a new company, but not new in the big world. We are founded in 1970. We are partner managed. Actually, it says 5,000 employees on this slide, but I think we should tick one digit up, so it's sort of plus 6,000 colleagues. We have over the world today, 60 locations worldwide. And what do? We support the sectors and clusters we have with clients within real estate, industry, and infrastructure, from the wide range from consulting to implementation and operations. And why do we meet here today? Yeah, we meet here as a follow-up. Some of you, I can recognize some familiar faces, had the possibility to visit us earlier in this February when we held our trend spotting talk at the Stockholm Chamber of Commerce here in Stockholm, where we are broadcasting and greeting you today. We then had 5 trend talkers on stage, and we will soon invite one of them to the talk today, together with another colleague of us. So today we gonna deep dive into big data for evidence, and on stage we had then our greeted colleague Minu Tegethoff when we presented the trend talk in February. Minu Tegethoff, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and being the head of customized smart buildings.
International, yes.
Yeah, international. So that's the topic for today. Yes. And we will then also greet another colleague of ours into the talk. And when we look at our screen here, we know we can't see you, Eike, but we know that we have you behind our backs.
Hello, everyone.
Eike Christian Wenning, manager of real estate, management consulting, recent summer in Germany. And actually, Minu, you are from Germany as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Many people don't know, but Eike is also my mentor. You know, when you join a company, you get a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my mentor.
Congrats.
Was a really
both.
pleasure, but I think you do not need it anymore. But yeah. It's really good to working with you.
So maybe that's why we have such a successful collaboration today then.
Yes.
Yeah. And the great of being a part of the big family of Drees and Sommer is that we actually don't care about borders, do we, Minu and Eike? We just collaborate together, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. And Eike, I would like, are you prepared, Eike? I would like you to sort of be on stage and present the first part of the presentation. Are we ready to go?
For sure, I'm ready to go. Thank you, Karin. So also a warm welcome from my side from Germany today. Unfortunately, I cannot make it to come to Sweden this day, but I'm really happy to be part of it, and I hope everybody can hear me quite well. So I'm a manager for real estate and facility management consulting at Drees and Sommer since more than 10 years. And for sure, we are also in this field driving digitalization. And it's a big part for the topic today, big data for evidence, to think about what's a part of real estate management and how to use all this information during the operation of existing building or the refurbishment of building or new customized smart building. How can they be operated, and what's the strategic approach to be part of it and to participate of all these added values and chances you have as part of new technologies. So in the first step, many questions are raised here and topics which could be discussed more deeply for sure, but for today, for the breakfast, maybe we can discuss it later on. It's about space flexibility. How can technology and digitalization's approach help you to have some kind of transparency? What are the spaces used? What could be site or building strategies? How can the processes be digitalized? It could be also good for your efficiency, but also not essentially, it's an essential part for energy management, ESG topics, reporting. And I think everybody of you is aware of, if you do not have the right data in place and part of reports, it's really hard to have the reportings you need on a daily basis and make the right data-driven decisions. So for us, it's really important to have a synchronized strategy of the overall corporate or your asset portfolio and the real estates. So how does it match? Which information do you need? And what could be a good investment plan for existing buildings as well as new buildings you want to include in your portfolio or build? So this is one of the key topics we are discussing right now with many clients, and why it's so important also for existing as well as new buildings to discuss digital operations ongoing. So maybe Karin, can you go to the next slide, please? So many questions you will have in mind when you think, okay, digitalization. I think everybody will be say, yes, digitalization is really important. We need it. But the question is how? What could be a suitable solution for you and your organization? What fits to your strategy, to your needs, and what could be a good approach? Here are some questions we hear day to day. So what is digitalization about? Is it more software driven? Is it hardware driven? How can I migrate different systems I have in place? And what could be a suitable solution to have a good collection? When we speak about digital operation, it's often the combination of 4 fields. It's about the hardware, the buildings you have in your portfolio, the software solutions you have in place or do you want to have in place. And then for sure, it's about the culture, your internal organization, your stakeholders you have in place, and then the change management for all of it. And so you need really a good solution for these answers here. And for sure, we are willing to help you find a good solution for your individual solutions, because there's not a standard approach and a blueprint for digitalization and digital operations. Real estates are quite unique, and for sure, so we need also some individual solutions or customized solutions for your questions regarding the digitalization. Karin, maybe you want to went on to the next slide. Perfect. So why do we discuss all these topics, and what are the expectations of our clients that we have when we speak about digitalization? So these are the results from our last year's real estate trend study, and there we ask different stakeholders what are the opportunities and what are the challenges currently thinking about digitalization. So one key point for sure is on the side of the opportunities to increase the level of service quality. So with digital tools, we are able to provide services as a landlord or as a service provider to provide services which are needed and not services which are scheduled. It's more easier to prepare and match demands and the services on a day-to-day basis and have a good solution there. And on the other hand, it was the second important part is here the great efficiency. Digitalization for sure in the first steps cost in some cases a little bit more than a standardized building, but on a long term, especially thinking about energy costs and reduction of emissions, it's really important part to have a good solution and a suitable solution for the digitalization, to have a transparency base for energy management and to discuss how building operations can cost reductions and find good solutions. On the other hand, to name a third part is a process optimization. many of our clients are facing the need of talents. They are looking and thinking about how processes could be more lean and digital to have a really small organization which is suitable for their needs, and their digitalization is a really good point. Many people in the real estate sector are looking for information day to day, and there are no single source of truth. There are different data sources with in some cases different information in it, especially when we're thinking about big portfolios. So the digitalization, suitable tools can really help also to be more efficient in your organization, but for sure it also helps you to have a more satisfied organization and customers. But for sure, all of this has also challenges. One of the biggest point was the investment cost. In the first step, especially thinking at the current financial challenges in the real estate sector, the investment costs are one of the key topics. Also thinking about the hardware, the building installation you need, but also software tools and the implementation of these tools. Because you need the tools, you need some IoT devices, for example, but on a long term, for sure, it's in the most cases really a positive business case to have this in place. But some of our clients are currently waiting or thinking twice about the opportunities installing such tools. Data security and privacy, a really important topic, thinking about digitalization. Then also in some times the lack of skills for some employees. So that was a point because I mentioned before the really important part of change management and trainings for also the established employees, and then the awareness what could be the benefit and keeping all people on board and finding a good solution. So this is a really good topic we can also discuss later on for sure. Karin, my last slide, please. Perfect. So to have a bracket about the different topics. So we are working on this digital operation and customized smart building, especially finding suitable and solution for organization, our clients to be more competitive also in the future. But for sure, we want to be, as stated before, with our purpose, where we want to create a world we want to live in, to establish and install digitalized, more efficient, and for sure suitable and sustainable buildings as new buildings, but also for refurbishment and existing buildings. So, but the question is, Minu, what do you think? How can we proceed this way?
I was hoping you'll tell me that, but no, moving. Can I?
Yeah,
I'll take this.
Yeah, please. And I can say, please ask questions, not right now in the audience, but keep them, and we will have a joint session. And also you in the virtual room, you can use the chat in the Teams webinars. So just post the meetings, and we have some 4 eyes in the room keeping track of those.
Yes, and I'm going to keep my presentation short, so I hope you can remember your questions also for later. Yeah, but I think Eike already touched upon a little bit of how the future, or I don't even want to call it the future, but the now of real estate looks like, because these are actual things that our real estate is able to perform today with some of the clients that we've done. Our buildings know exactly what the number of people that are in the same building, the kind of energy consumption, the kind of resource consumption that this building has, or even the kind of damages that are happening in systems. Now, specifically technical systems, how can we prevent these damages from happening? So this kind of data is becoming now more and more essential in real estate. This is simply because of the pace at which we have also the development of AI. This is giving us different tools that we didn't have in the past. Now the one facility manager is able to actually manage multiple assets sitting from one office. And this is where the direction is moving. This is the kind of tools that we have on the market. So we're not really talking about future, we're talking about now. And this kind of understanding is only made capable when you start to collect this data, but not just any data. So there was this it's not about big data, but it's about smart data. So you have to work backwards. What do we really want to understand from our asset? Is it just resource consumption, or do we want to understand how much is this asset costing me per square meter? How much is this asset costing me per person? What kind of usage actually makes sense for this asset? Is this asset performing well for this usage? We have now the capabilities to derive to these kind of conclusions because we have the technology to get this data. And one size doesn't fit all. I was talking to you, Jacob, about it. We work with smaller companies that don't have their own IT ecosystem or not such a large IT ecosystem, and they're more flexible in choosing their solutions on the market when we're talking about sensors or we're talking about IT solutions. But larger corporates, they have their own system. They don't want data to be held in a third-party system. So they have different kind of requirements. So they cannot use the same company that the small guy is using. But then again, it all boils down to what you want to achieve from this data. Please don't just collect data to collect data. Figure out, because later untangling this data mess and really trying to get out what you want to get out is a larger task than you would imagine. To give you simple examples, there's so many desk booking solutions out there, and most of them would fit your standard desk booking needs. But do you really want to use this desk booking data to understand what is your resource consumption per person that's actually coming into office? Booking a desk is a different situation, but actually booking this desk and using this desk and thereby consuming electricity, water, whatever it is a different aspect. So while you have desk booking apps out there, maybe you don't have this connection with the building resource management and the actual occupancy of whether this person actually came to office and was a part of your consumption. So there are these little things everywhere, and we try to support our clients in trying to first figure out what is it that they want to reach. How are we doing this? So we call this our digital radar. We ourselves, and Eike is a part of the green team. We analyze tools. We are completely ourselves software and hardware agnostic, and it is our responsibility to stay up to market trends and to know what's happening out there in these different fields, in the different digital fields. One of them being FM, where Eike is really strong in. The next one is we have our own digital hub. So from whether it's BIM solutions or AI topics, we have our own little mini hubs, innovation hubs working on understanding market solutions for these different, let's say, building cycles and digital solutions that you can have for these different building planning cycles. And last but not the least, we are part of this radar to kind of draw insights from these different departments, so to speak. We have our own database from which we are able to support our client to find exactly what they need. Not just in terms of solution providers, but also then help them in the implementation and the actual facility management thereafter. So today I want to leave you with these 5 key messages. Digitalize your buildings, not just because it is the trend, but really digitalize it to connect and optimize, to understand, to become space efficient. I have 2 kids and I want to leave back as sustainable a future as I can. At the same time, our construction industry is responsible for more than 50% of the waste on this earth. And don't build because we have to build, but really think before you build. And become healthier and happier. At the center of it all are people. Please provide healthy environments. Become a secure asset. I don't know if it's happened. I'm not very informed with the Swedish market, but in Germany, we've already had some big hacks in these systems. The more digitalized you get, the more secure you need to get, cyber secure. So please, when you go about doing this, make sure that you have this topic of cybersecurity in your mind. And last but not the least, have this data to make sound decisions and really figure out why you want to collect this data. That's about it.
Oh, great, Minu. Thank you, Minu. Thank Eike. And sort of, you knowing me, Minu, I'm super curious, but I'm not that digital nerd, and this could seem a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
As a property owner, operator, or even a business manager, business owner, where do we start?
This is not just this is not just your challenge, Karin. This is also a challenge for our clients.
Thank you.
We go actually step by step. Like I said, we don't have to digitalize just because we want to digitalize because it's cool right now. So what we do is an analysis of the asset itself. Eike, feel free to jump in if you have something to add. But we simply first we do like an assessment on our own of the asset. Where is the asset standing? What are the kind of systems in place? How many people are using the space? What was the construction year? And so on and so forth. So we do our own kind of technical due diligence, but with a digital and a facility management kind of lens on top of it. And parallelly, we're sitting with the client and trying to figure out what does he or she want to reach in the future with this one asset, or is it about multiple assets? Does he want to divide it into multi-stakeholder assets, or like in hotels, we already have multi-stakeholders responsible for one asset. What are each one of their goals? What do they want to reach? And then kind of tell them, this is your goal, this is what your asset can provide, and here is the gap. And from there on, we start. So it's really two parallel things that we do. First, look at the asset itself, and then figure out with the clients parallelly what they want to do.
Great, thank you, Minu. Yeah, and looking out in the room, please feel free to raise any questions. So now the floor is open, and while you think about the questions, I'm also glancing at my 2i and 4i team. Just raise any question coming in via the Teams webinar platform. But Eike, the topic of real estate operations, it's complicated with its sort of, as Minu also touched on, the multiple stakeholders and the multiple systems. How does one navigate through all this?
I think the first step is our experience. It's really important to think about what are the main challenges at the moment. Is it about the data lake? So we have many clients where nobody is really aware of the essential information to the building. So what's the user satisfaction? What's the quality of the air within the buildings? What are the challenges also of the different suppliers you have also in the stakeholder park, like facility management providers, property management providers, internal or external asset management. So many people are dealing with the asset portfolio and have different kinds of challenges operating this building. And for us, it's really important to speak with people, discuss what are the main challenges, and it's really often about the common data warehouse, so that every stakeholder has different information. And a short, really good win is also on the short term is to discuss what could be a suitable data warehouse where everybody has a single source of truth, and discussing how processes could be digitalized and have a common data warehouse, data common set, and then discuss what is the really best stay there, because then you have the transparency in the operation for existing building as well as for new buildings. And then we can start, as Minu mentioned before, what are IoT components which could be suitable for these challenges. And it's really essential to have a good understanding of the key challenges the different stakeholders have in mind, and have a good transparency, and also thinking about KPIs, how you want to measure these different challenges you have at the moment. So it's really much about transparency, and then finding suitable solutions, also big range of service providers and technologies you can use in the day-to-day operation. So it's really a mess what is available at the moment, finding the right way. That is the reason why we have also this technology hubs and demo centers at Drees and Sommer, because it's so many technologies which are available, and it's really hard to find the right way for individual solutions and individual challenges everybody in the room has in mind.
Thank you, Eike. I sort of could one get in trouble or have problems in gathering all the stakeholders to join the journey and get them around the same table and experience from that?
Eike, this was for you, but I can also.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry, Karin. Yeah, for sure. That is quite often our rule in this kind of projects. So for sure, we are speaking day to day, and that's the reason why we did the studies in the past to get the view of different stakeholders. And for sure, the challenges of let's say a cleaning company is completely different than the challenges for the maintenance company, for the maybe critical HVAC unit, and the asset manager who is more taking a look of the cash flow components of the real estate. And so we see our role as Drees and Sommer to be in the middle of all the stakeholders, and that's also really the reason why we have within our employees different experience and see what could be a suitable solution for all the stakeholders. And so in most cases, we speak with our client for sure, but also with other stakeholders and bring in our solutions and experience from previous projects. As Minu mentioned, it's in some kinds future, but many clients also have lighthouse projects which have many of these components in, and also had the challenge trying some things and have different objects in their portfolio and tried different aspects of digitalizations also together with us. And for sure, we want to share all this information and give the different stakeholder views into our projects and discuss what could be the suitable solution. So this is a really big point and a big lessons learned from our last years within the customized smart building and digital operations field.
Just to add to that one, we do get a lot of resistance, this multi-stakeholder problem, especially because, or simply because data or having data causes transparency, right? So, for example, the facility management ticketing system. The facility manager gets information, I don't know, this light bulb is spoiled, please come and replace it. And this is happening quite often on this floor. Well, when we come in, we question whether this kind of data should also be made available to the asset owner themselves. And this kind of transparency in data causes resistance because the facility management does not want the asset manager to know how often these light bulbs are getting replaced or otherwise. And this is happening at all levels. So the employees don't want their superiors to know how often they are coming in to workspace and why. Of course, this data is anonymous, so I will never be able to say if Karin was in office specifically, but I will be able to say that the office was only 30% occupied on an average. And then me as a asset owner or even the head of the firm is going to question whether I need the entire 100% of the area. So data also causes transparency or brings out a lot of hidden issues, which causes a lot of resistance in our day-to-day business. And it's about putting all the cards on the table and figuring out what is it that we all want to achieve at the end of this.
Mm-hmm. Thank you both, Eike and Minu. Transparency, we talk about the complexity. And looking at you, Minu, in one of the slides with the heading sort of future real estate, but you said sort of now, presence, because this all could be perceived a bit futuristic. But how much of what you showed us of real estate can we actually implement today?
Actually, pretty much all of it. There are solutions on the market that can really take care of everything. The biggest challenge, though, is connecting them all. They're all silo systems. So you have great systems that analyze energy consumption. You have great systems that collect and analyze occupancy data. You have great systems that do the same thing for air quality. These are all silos. But what is missing and what really helps and causes this big effect of change, where you can read things, is connecting all the dots and trying to really figure out what is my carbon footprint per person, per square meter, and so on. So this is missing, but these silo technologies are out there, specifically in the production world. In our work, there it's all about the money. If you produce well, it's all about standard processes, and it's all about producing the maximum in the minimum amount of time. So especially in our assets where production is involved, the level of technology it's at another level. We have robots, it's already being done. We have robots transporting material from A to B. There is no human involvement to make sure efficiency is at its maximum. It comes with other issues, but this kind of technology is already there. It's slowly seeping into other sectors, but to answer your question in short, it's all there, but unfortunately, 20 different systems with 20 different dashboards that one poor guy is sitting behind and trying to figure out what to make sense of.
Okay, it's thank you for that explanation. Sort of a bit of spin-off to that, pointing at you, Eike. We speak of the digital operations or digital facility management alongside usage of AI. We do it like in every other sector. Is there in a near future where I can type in my problems into building AI and it could tell me exactly what to do? How far away could we be from this?
It's depending on the side of kind of service, I would say, Karin. So we have also chatbot, which is every one of us experience from other kind of service providers, are sometimes trying also the facility service provider right now, so that we do not have to write an email or give somebody a call. It's also the opportunity for some bigger facility service providers working with chatbots, where you can enter your problem and they try to figure out who could be the relevant service provider or persons who can help you. Maybe you say, okay, the light bulb what we have before Minu is broken. Please send me, or please repair it. And then the AI will directly define, okay, this is an electrical problem and the service provider needs to be have some light bulb in his spare part, and he needs an electrician, and they are going on site. So they are trying to do it because they are facing the lack of expert and technicians in some areas. And for sure, they try to reduce driving times and also inefficiency on site. So AI solutions and chatbots are helping at some points. And also when we take a look at real critical infrastructure, especially in data centers, things like that, there we have some installations and assets where we see first predictive installation. So we call it predictive maintenance, where the assets have so many sensors and suitable sensors that they can say in advance which services will be needed or which failures will occur, so that before the failure will occur, they have a technician on the site and can change filters or other components of critical infrastructure, so to reduce the downtime of assets. And so there's also AI also in place. And I see it really when it's about customer interaction, especially we're speaking about bigger portfolios and bigger range of clients and users. And then in the field of real critical infrastructure like data centers, offshore installations, things like that, where we find a good detection of occurring failures. And there are first solutions installed and in place, but I think it will be easier and easier when the database is bigger and we know from these critical installations what are the important indicators for this kinds. There we can see, okay, and maybe then we have the same solutions in the near future also for offices and for other kind of buildings. So AI is in place, but it's a niche at the moment, but I think it will occur more and more in the real estate sector, especially thinking about cost reduction and solutions for the lack of experienced technicians and other qualified persons in some places.
I think currently this is our biggest challenge in general, facility lack of personnel to do a lot of these things. I mean, not just in facility management, we're seeing this everywhere, right? That's why AI is also, in some sense, a big support for all of us. But this is one of the main drivers in facility management, lack of personnel.
Yeah, and we mentioned earlier in the presentations the sort of the lack of competence and skills, upskilling, reskilling, and looking at traditional facility management without sort of adding AI or even the full digitalization. We have a lack of personnel, and then adding all these new skills not on top but integrated. Yes. That's also a challenge.
Yeah.
Could we talk about different assets? Eike, you said larger or smaller portfolios, different assets. Could one say that implementing solutions with to collect smart data and to use it, is that more common in certain asset types? I don't know, Eike, if it's you or maybe Minu who should sort of address that.
I'll let him start.
You let me start. Okay. I would say it depends on the kind of use case. So when we speak about digitalization, we speak about different use cases. So we see it in the field of critical infrastructure. There's a big research and many challenges regarding uptime and reducing downtime of critical infrastructure and assets. So it's more the technical part. When we take a look at the office, we have completely different use cases in many cases. Then it's about ticketing, community managing, increasing the quality of office spaces like air quality, things like that, cleaning services. So we have different use cases for different kind of assets, and I would say they are both important and really common at the way, and everybody's discussing it. And for sure, thinking about real estate investors and real estate asset management, it's really important to think about what could be increasing the rent and reducing the occupancy costs for the tenants. And so especially the office part is important, and thinking about to have a good usability of the spaces and a good occupancy rate of the spaces. And so we see a clear trend within the office market to thinking about the user and the user focus and reducing the effort for backhouse processes. Also, accounting was a point I missed before regarding the AI. I think many accounting part will be reduced and help the landlord as well as the tenants to reduce costs. And so it's really important to discuss different kind of assets, think about the suitable solutions, but for both kind of assets or almost all kind of assets, there are suitable solutions and really also good business cases in place right now. Minu, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Of course, there's more tendency in one or the other sector. Like I mentioned, the kind of technology that you see in our production sector is really immense. They are measuring air quality not just once in 200 square meters or temperature, but they're actually doing it even at 25 and around equipment and logistics at different heights and so on. So there, it's really another level of digitalization that occurs. Like Eike said, it's really use case basis. In residential, it's slightly softer. In commercial or let's say even retail, it's a different kind of use case. The real estate owner wants to understand how their malls are being used, if their malls are being used at all compared to other malls. What are the kind of people coming in and out? So there is also a lot of interesting other different kind of aspects of digitalization happening in this sector. In residential, slightly less. And of course, in office, it's at the end of the day, the firms themselves that bring these use cases with them to understand how much space they really need to expand. We all know, thanks to COVID and home working, everyone was trying to figure out what is the future going to be like. Are we still going to have 100 desks for our 100 people? And we, for example, for a larger corporate, actually landed up, after doing occupancy analysis, landed up subletting 4 out of their 10 buildings in a campus area, because they realized after COVID, not just through a questionnaire that people said, I'm only going to come 2 times into office, but through live data, that there were only people coming twice a week to office, and then they kind of optimize, then put functions together to then sublet these other buildings. So again, a different kind of use case, and it stays around. These sectors are very much bundled around their similar use cases. They're one or two firms pick new ones depending on what's coming up or what they really want to know. But yeah, this is where the trend is at.
Good, thank you. We have a question. Please speak out, and we will repeat the question in the webinar as well.
Yeah.
The real estate is used to have an object specific.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And you can include the question in your answer.
Okay. So to help you or to answer this question about scaling and what is it which type of, like you said, initially the solutions were very asset based, and now it's about looking at the larger portfolio and the multiple number of assets. And this is exactly the pain point that I pointed out. Now we have one facility manager operating multiple assets, and this should also be the goal because of this lack of personnel. So scaling up can only happen once you have your blueprint in place, and your blueprint can only happen once you have a pilot project in place and are constantly testing. Eike mentioned it lightly that we have our own lab. Actually, I sit where our lab is in Aachen, where we have our own sensors, where we're really on a daily basis testing the systems that are out there in the market. And I can't name most of our clients, unfortunately, but over a period of 12 to 24 months, we kind of develop, based on a pilot project, a blueprint for the client. So making sure that, and you can't do it just with one pilot project, you have to do it with multiple. And we're still learning. For this one client, we've done it over now already, I think 10 assets, and we're still changing and modifying this blueprint. So it's never an ending process. But you're right, it all has to come to a central data lake. So ideally, in a perfect world, there's actually just one person sitting, I don't know, somewhere in Madrid, sipping on a sangria, and can look at all their worldwide assets and figure out exactly where the problem is, because the data coming in from all these assets is coming from the same source and the same kind of data. So it's like really, it's easy to read, it's easy to understand where the problem is. So the scalability is possible only when you have blueprints. Or you develop these blueprints. And the challenge currently that we have developing these blueprints for the clients who want everything to be in their own sort of data lake or their own sort of system is that the market is evolving really quickly for smart buildings. It's all retrofit solutions, and sometimes we really can't keep up. There's a new booking system in place. There's a new air quality sensor tomorrow. It's changed. We need to make sure that we have a rather sustainable goal, and at the same time are able to even replace these things because the technology has reached the next level already. So today you've installed, I don't know, people counting sensors with a simple camera-based system. Tomorrow, the simple camera-based system should be able to analyze more things. So are you going to now start changing everything, or are you going to update the software? So this kind of understanding how resilient the hardware really is also a key part of really scalability. I hope I didn't get too technical and complicate things now.
No, it's I'm already in the future, so it's no problem. Actually, it's soon time to wrap up the session, but I thought you also said retrofit now, Minu. Yeah. Is there sort of a difference of the how to the angle to digitalization when we talk about retrofit versus new build?
Yeah, yes and no. So the good thing about smart buildings is that at least I don't know of any specific university degree that teaches you only smart building. It's still just a small sideline that's, being taught. In the side, if you're interested, take a small course on it one semester. So even though there's lots happening, a lot of these planners are not informed of what is how to plan about such a building. And most of the solutions that are provided are all retrofit in the market because these planners are planning simple standard buildings. So the minute you want to digitalize, you always have to add something on top of the standard building. This puts us on one side with this big opportunity that at any given point of time, retrofit or new building, we are capable of integrating this technology because they are meant to come on as an add-on and not as a core part. At the same time, of course, when it's a newly built, you have state-of-the-art building management systems that are already kind of helping you attach to on their building management system certain parallel systems that makes it easier to gather and collect data in one place. So with retrofit, you have slightly more silo solutions again. And with newly built, you have the capability of combining multiple things.
Good, thank you. And the last question then for today will be for you, Eike, and that will be the same question, but coming to digital operations in retrofit versus in new build, challenges and opportunities. Please, briefly, if you can.
For sure, for digital operations, mainly the implementation is a real challenge. So because nowadays we really need to have, let's say, analog organizations which are not used to operate digital buildings to teach them. It's really teaching and training them how to operate it, because it's in many cases a complete different kind of buildings they use and need to use, and the change management for sure. We have many clients or sometimes a part of their organization or systems, sometimes external, sometimes internally, that some people are not using the systems quite well, or they are not using them anyway. It's the easiest part to have a new software solution, for example, but they do not feed the software solution with a common and needed database. So for us, it's really important for the operational part to have a good change management and training, and also the commissioning phase, that everything is really going well. And that's not about good concepts, it's about the operation of this concept and fulfilling all ideas and finding a good way for the day-to-day operations, because then we are able to achieve all the targets and efficiency we want to achieve with digital buildings.
Good.
Thanks, Karin.
Yeah, thank you, Eike, thank you, Minu. And before me showing the last slide of today, I think a big round of applause for Minu Tegethoff and all of us, and Eike, Christian Wenning. Thank you for delivering.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and delivering not only big data for evidence, but also smart data for evidence. I think we have to enhance our terminology. Yeah, we have to do that. So before letting you off the hook from the team's digital webinar and you in this room, you having had the opportunity to come here today, you can glance at your left and see that there is still coffee and breakfast sandwiches, so just grab in. We will stick around for a while, so take the opportunity to have a chat with us in the room, and you can also see those blue tag persons. That's colleague of ours from Drees and Sommer, so just grab any colleague. But we will probably meet in a couple of weeks' time. No, in only 1 week's time. Karin nodding in the back, and then later on in the midsummer week. Next time, the topic will be outside working for health, and the program is with Karina Söderlund from Mälardalen University, together with our Drees and Sommer colleague from Sweden, Vibeke Stadling. And then the final roundup before midsummer will be with our Drees and Sommer colleague Marco Abdallah on topic Go Green for Resilience. So if you want to know more, you know where to find us, or if you didn't know, you know now where to find us. So thank you very, very much for joining Drees and Sommer this Tuesday morning. See you soon out there in both the virtual life and the real life. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.